shift the way you lead, the way you live. Clarity, courage, change. Because your next level won't wait. This is Monday Mindshift, the clarity you've been craving, the shift you didn't know you needed. Hello, and happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Monday Mindshift. I'm Sean Michael, the Identity Disruptor, and I work with leaders, founders, entrepreneurs, and coaches to tame the imposter monster, deal with self-sabotage, step into the identity that they want and need to have the life they desire. I thank you for being here today. I appreciate everyone who appears. Please go ahead and comment, ask questions, anything like that. I love the engagement while we're broadcasting. It makes this all more worthwhile. Good to have you, Meryl. First one here, or first one to chime in anyway, because I see a number on the screen that says there's more than just Meryl. But Meryl made it. Sharon's here. So today, I want to talk about leadership or leading while leaking. This is the cost of ignoring emotional maintenance, because emotional residue shapes your leadership. And when I say leadership, I don't necessarily mean just you're leading a team or you're leading at work. Your self-leadership, your leadership in your home. We're all leaders at some level, right? As a father, as a husband, I take on some role as leader of leadership in my home. And as a human being, I have to lead my life. I remember there was a mind shift we did that we talked about self-leadership and how important that was. So let me bring the slides. I know Meryl loves the slides. Tracy, welcome. And Derek, thank you for coming. Whoops, let me turn the caption and the QR code off because we're not ready for that yet. That will come later, I promise. All right. So as I said, leading while leaking, the cost of ignoring emotional maintenance. Uh-oh, looks like my notes did not update because I'm on the wrong screen again. I will figure this restream out. As soon as I switched to the slides, I had my old notes from last week. All right. So leadership, it's not simply strategy and skill. It's about your state. And I want to be really honest here. What you don't process, you project. If we ignore emotional maintenance, it leaks out in our leadership at home, at work, etc. And my promise to you today in Monday Mindshift is we're going to look at how this emotional residue shapes your leadership more than strategy or your skills, and why control is not the same as containment. We'll look at practicing ways to maintain your emotional state before it bleeds out into your leadership. I love this quote by Carl Jung. Until you make, or Carl Jung, sorry. Anil, thank you for joining. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. All right. As I said, I gotta get these slides figured out. What you don't process, you project. So moving on. Maybe. So the diagnostic. What are the signs that you're leaking? Or what are the ways that we leak? The first is our tone. Maybe it's a sharp email, clipped responses, that impatient sigh, right? Right? How many times has somebody done that to you? They just go, and you're like, whoa, there was a lot of message in there. The other way it leaks is trust leaks. You avoid the hard conversations. You over control to cover your fear, right? We call it micromanagement. Avoidance is another one. You hold on tighter because you don't feel the trust. And energy leaks. We call it busyness. It's really exhaustion. Constant reactivity, right? You're always reacting like, oh, I got to put a fire. I got to put this fire out. I got to put that fire out. With our team, if we have a team, or the people around us, they're walking on eggshells. There's frequent miscommunication. You go to a meeting, and instead of feeling energized, you feel totally drained. You see, what leaks out of you sets the tone for the entire room that you're in. All right. All right, as we said, team knows before you do. They're walking on eggshells. They're editing before speaking. They're not speaking up. You might say, oh, I wish more people spoke up. Arlene, thank you for joining. Right? Your boss, right? The leader is managing people instead of collaborating with the team. The same conflicts keep coming up. It's not always the situation. It's often some unresolved emotion. Right? We talked before about do, delete, delegate. Watch out for the fourth D, distract. But even if we optimize and get support and delegate tasks and delete the things that don't belong on our list, but we still feel fatigued, it's because it's emotional. It's not about operational. It's not about minutes consumed or hours consumed or effort expended. It's you're not dealing with the emotional side. So where did we learn this? Where did we learn that expressing emotion is weakness? That we need to hide our emotion? I know with my son, we're trying to teach him that his emotions are acceptable. There are ways to express them based on the situation and the space, but all emotions are appropriate and they need to be processed. They need to be expressed in good, healthy ways. So go ahead, if you can, close your eyes. Think back. Where did you learn that showing this emotion was weakness? Maybe it was home. Maybe it was at school. Maybe it was in workplace. Who taught you that leadership is about bottling up our emotions? And I've got a couple of journal prompts here. So take the time, I'll add these to the chat. Write these out, answer them honestly, right? These are very, very powerful. So the first one is the first time I hid my emotions to lead was. Annie, welcome, welcome. And Liana. If you're not following Liana and you want to see some beauty every day, definitely follow her because she posts some beautiful photos daily. And Calm, Michael, welcome. All right, so our first journal question. The first time I hid my emotions to lead was, and then answer this question. What I gained by hiding was, so name the gain. What did it benefit you? Right? This isn't wrong. It was protection, right? It was survival. But survival methods, okay, wait, we're not ready for science time. Yeah, boys don't have pain. Big boys don't cry. Big girls don't cry. They get it too. Anil. I hope I'm not massacring that. Cry on those are good, Sharon. Cry on the inside like a winner. Very hard for me to share, and when I do, it's met. Yeah. Often parents, like, they send their kids off to school and the kids come home and unleash an emotional firestorm. And I learned this, that it's because they feel safe, right? We usually have a safe space that we know that we can express our emotions safely. But in a non-safe space, or often if in presentation at work, we're like, oh no, I can't show emotion. Right? I need to hide it. Nobody wants to see my tears. Nobody wants to hear my rage. And we will talk about that more, because we're not looking to suppress. It's not about controlling them. It's about containment, and we will get deeper on there. Let me just say this. By armoring up, we learned, through these conditioning. Felipe, welcome. We learned through our conditioning from parents, from school, from adults in our life, from our employers, etc., that we should hide our emotion, that we should not show emotion. Don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. And it's not wrong. We built this armor. That armor is not wrong. But the problem is as we go on through life, that armor starts leaking. Right? Armor is not just it holds in, but if it's cracked, then it leaks out. And that's powerful. Kenneth, welcome. Yeah, sadly, too many people make fun of us, Anil, when you express emotion. My wife, she will fall apart in front of me. But if she has to see someone, she's got to fix her, she's got a student or a client she's meeting with. She's like, oh, I can't cry right now. I can't share this because it's going to make me cry. So I'll share it later because I got to go do this talk. My son, he's 7 years old. And when he's in the heat of emotion, he wants to be alone. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want other people to see him. Same thing. That's what I was saying, is kids often get crazy and release all their emotion when they get home in front of the parents because they know their parents are safe. Right? in school or daycare or wherever, they don't feel safe playing with their friends. As Anil shared, we're afraid we're going to be teased. Oh, he's such a wussy, Oh, look at him, he's crying. Look at her, Gosh, she's such a basket case. She's always emotional. Like, oh, what the heck? Like, we're not human or robots or something. But that's so wrong. Like, our emotions are a key factor of the human experience. Science time. This one's for you, Meryl. Wow, that's powerful, Derek. Conscious effort to admit that anger is sadness. Often, anger is our safe emotion, right? Someone gets angry, nobody freaks out about it. So it's usually a cover emotion over sadness, grief, and the other softer emotions, right? That they were afraid to share. Yeah, Kenny, we'll let you have it. It's okay. I don't need to meet Kenny. So why do our emotions leak? Because neuroscience shows that suppressing our emotions increases the activity in the amygdala, right? That protection part of our brain. They don't vanish. We think we're stuffing them away and they just disappear, but they actually get stronger. In fact, often the emotion you're feeling in the situation has very little to do with that situation. It's a chain back through all the times you felt that way. And because we never dealt with them, it's like shaking a pop bottle, right? If you shake your Coca-Cola bottle, you can shake it for a while. You can shake and shake and shake. But if you open it, it's going to make a big mess. And it's the same with our emotions. If we've just been bottling them up and shaking it, bottling them up and shaking it, then when you open it, watch out. Or it's like if you've ever seen those YouTube videos where they drop the Mentos in the Coke and it just explodes, right? Polyvagal theory shows that emotional suppression keeps your body in the defensive state, which limits our ability to connect with other people. Because we're denying the emotion, we're not acknowledging it, we're not accepting it, we're trying to fight against it. And that armor, right, that we put on to protect ourselves actually keeps people from really knowing us. And without knowing another person, truly knowing them, we can't connect. Right? In my own marriage, I saw this when I opened up and got vulnerable and was more open to share. I'm really feeling angry right now about this. Key factor here in work, in our personal relationships, etc. We have to stop. You make me, or he made me. I teach my son, no one can make you feel anything. Nobody can make me feel anything. I control my emotions. They're my emotions. Nobody else has the power to activate them or deactivate them. Only I do. And it's hurtful when we say, when you say to somebody, oh, you make me so angry. It's not true, and it hurts that person. A better way is to say, I'm feeling I felt very angry when you did that. or when you said that. You're acknowledging, like, what you did, now I feel angry. We're not denying that. And then you have what's called emotional contagion. When a leader's emotions are unprocessed, negativity spreads through the whole organization, right? If you've ever seen, let's see. Yeah, exactly, Michael. You see the person who toughs it through and expresses no emotion, and you're like, wow, he's a leader. And people cheer that, like, oh, look, he's a leader. He can manage his tears. No, that's not true. I'm not a real leader. I've seen it in my own life. They talk about in our brain are something called mirror neurons. That when we see someone smile, we tend to smile. If someone laughs, we tend to laugh. If someone's sad, guess what? Yeah, Arlene, that's true. When we release it, actually, the sickness, the illness, a lot of illness is caused because when we hold on to it so tightly, it raises inflammation in our body. It brings more cortisol. The amygdala is firing away. And that's when disease comes. It often seems like when we finally release it that we get the illness. But the truth is, it's from holding on. I'm going to talk about that, Anu. Because when we deal with our emotions, I'm not talking about as a leader coming to the team meeting and going, you know what, I'm really feeling crappy today and I'm really angry about blah. We're not looking at emotional vomit. That is not what we're talking about. But let me just share this. Emotions don't disappear when you suppress them. They go underground and they come out the sides. Brene Brown says it this way: we either own our stories or they own us. So before I move on to the practice, let me look at these comments, questions. So Sharon says, what about when we make ourselves feel a certain way? It boils down. I was just watching a video from my mentor this morning about this. It boils down to perspective, right? He says pain is just part of life. Suffering, that's a choice. So if we're feeling angry and we feel like we're making ourselves angry, and I know what you're saying, Sharon, because I've had this. Like, I make a mistake and I'm like, or I forget something and I'm like, you feel angry because you disappointed yourself. You let yourself down again. The same way as someone outside of us. And welcome, Leslie and Jeffrey and all the rest of you here on Team Live. I love seeing this. This is wonderful, to have the numbers that we're seeing, the engagement. That's what I care about. I remember times when I came on Mindshift and it was just me. There was no live viewers. But I just kept showing up and talking and getting better at promoting, sending the invites. And big thank you to people like Meryl and Leslie. Leslie, because every week she publishes her carousel that shares all of these events every day, what times they're being hosted, what are their names, what are they about. So I really appreciate Leslie for that, for sharing that, talking about me on her show. And not just me, but others. She often recognizes everyone in her audience, and that's really amazing. And Meryl, the super connector, right? Whenever there's an event, like I don't, most of the time, unless it's certain events that I tend to go to regularly and I get the notification, but I can always count on a message from Meryl and Kenneth. Oh, don't let me not forget Kenneth. Kenneth's another connector, right? I know what's going on out there on LinkedIn because of those two gentlemen, right? I get a message, hey, I'm joining this, or this is coming, or join this. Roy is doing his disruptive leadership, or I love that because we're all busy and it's easy to forget. Well, and you're exactly right, Leslie. Anger is often just fear, right? It's fear and uncertainty. We're angry because we fear our own mistakes. We fear what others think of us. We fear poverty, as Leslie teaches. We fear death, our mortality, and we can feel very angry about it, right? Think of it this way. If you lose a loved one and you're feeling very sad or angry, is it because that person's gone or because you feel gypped that they left so soon? Like, I wasn't ready to lose them yet. Think about that. All right, let's move on to our practice. Practice number 1. Oh, this is out of place. So let's see. The armor leak. Practice 1, the leak audit. You can't fix what you don't know is broken. You can't fix leaks if you don't know there are leaks. And when I have done some plumbing, and when you have wetness, the first thing you have to do is find out where the leak is coming from. It's the same way with our emotional leaks. So you can do this with you can see the steps on the slide, but get a journal page, get a piece of paper, and write out, where do I notice leaks in my leadership? Does it demonstrate in my tone? Is it trust issues? Is it energy? And circle the biggest leak. What's the one that's costing you the most? And then write this one sentence. The cost of this leak is. What is it costing you? Right? We've talked about this before. Awareness is the first step. You cannot deal with what you don't know exists. So where is the leak? Right? What is the cost? Is it costing connection, credibility, morale, clarity? And then observe it with no judgment, right? Thank you, Mike, for those very beautiful words. So imagine your home has a roof leak. Can you ignore it? Yeah, you could definitely ignore it. If you've ever seen those videos online, I've seen them. There's like this huge bubble in the paint in the ceiling. Huge. I'm talking, bigger than your head, bigger than a small child. And then I see they stab it, and then this flood of water comes in. How long did they ignore that? It's similar with our emotions, right? Or maybe it's just a small leak. Maybe it doesn't create the bubble, but you might see a stain on the ceiling. You might see some discoloration. If you get up in the attic or the structure, you will find rot, right? The framework will start to disintegrate. It will rot away. And the longer you wait to deal with it, the higher the cost of getting it repaired. It's the same way with our emotions. If we try to ignore them and don't deal with the leak, it will get bigger. It will have a bigger cost. So my question, where is your roof leak that you've been ignoring? How is it showing up in your life and your leadership? Practice number 2, control versus containment. Control is that white knuckling through the emotion, suppressing it, pushing it down, like, oh, I don't want to deal with this right now. Get a bucket. That's funny, Leslie. Right? Containment is creating your safe space where you can feel and go through and express. Going back to Anil's question, right? This isn't about the leader blowing up in front of his team. It's giving himself the space on his own or with people he trusts to express what he's feeling. Because if he doesn't, the chances of him blowing up in front of the team, or the age-old burnout, right? Tom, welcome. So here's the exercise on control versus containment. Write out this question for yourself. One emotion this statement, one emotion I've been controlling is, and put the emotion that you've been trying to manage, you've been trying to control it, and reframe it. Here's how I can contain and release it instead. And then jot out, how could you contain it and release it in the right instance? Put it in a box and label it. Containment is leadership maintenance. It's not indulgence, it's integrity, right? It's about expressing it in the right location. It's my son melting down with us. It's my wife falling apart when it's just her and I've created the safe space for her to express that emotion. I love this image of the jar. It's the same, like Sharon said, the box, right? Put it away. Don't put it on the shelf, because if you're like me, if I put it on the shelf, I'll probably forget it. Keep it where you can see it, right? Or I think about when my wife led training classes and someone would ask a question that didn't align with the section of the teaching she was on. And she would have, it was called the parking lot. She's like, we're going to put that in the parking lot. We will deal with it, but let's put it in the parking lot. Let's put it over here. We're not ignoring it. This is not the time. Maybe in 10 minutes, maybe in 30 minutes, maybe at the end of the lecture, we can answer this. But right now is not the time. So put it away, put it in the jar so you can still see it sitting over there. Keep it where you can see it, so that when the time is appropriate, you can manage, you can deal with it. All right. Practice 3. My famous 2-chair dialogue. 1 chair is the leak. How do you show up? How does it show up in your tone, in your exhaustion, in your lack of connection? The leader side of the chair says, I'll contain you, right? We'll put it in a jar for now, not control. It can also show up, the leak can show up in our avoidance, and it will continue to exist because we won't face it. So imagine that voice telling you, like, I'm still here because you're just ignoring me, and I'm going to keep knocking on your door until you answer. From the leader's chair, I see you. I will contain you, process you, and lead from clarity instead of leakage. Once again, this isn't about demonizing. It's not about demonizing the leak. It's a thank you. It's gratitude. This is where I need to do the maintenance, right? It's like the spot on your ceiling. Uh-oh, there's something going on up there. I better get it checked out. It's the light on your dashboard, right? Something's not right. I better call the mechanic. All right. So, in closing for this teaching, I'm going to put the statement in the chat. 2-part statement. The emotional leak I most need to tend is, and you write out what it is. The maintenance it requires is. Because after this, I'm going to open it up for guests on stage. And then my 7-day experiment. At the end of each of your days, over the next 7 days, write it out. What leaked out of me today? How can I tend it tomorrow? John Maxwell, one of my favorite leadership teachers, one of the best leadership teachers. Now, there's the questions, right? This is not about theory. This is not about feeling good in Monday Mindshift. To really get anything from this, it requires action, like anything in life, right? As I've said before, knowledge is this battery pack. Right now, it's just sitting there waiting. If I don't plug it in to something, I can't use this power. Knowledge is the same way. We have to take the action in order to benefit from it. So continuing on, John Maxwell, one of my favorite teachers. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. But you can't show the way if you're leaking along the path. This isn't about being leak-proof. It's about being leak-aware. And emotional maintenance is not optional. It's leadership. And as we said before, in some small way, all of us are leaders. My simple invitation, if you have been leading and leaking, carrying more things than you are willing to name or have been willing to name, DM me or comment lead, and we'll get you on my calendar for a quick call. We'll map out your emotional maintenance plan. I have a few slots that I've opened up. so that you can lead with wholeness instead of residue. And meditation is very powerful, Anna. Very, very powerful. I was just reading this morning I was reading it in the book I'm reading. And she talked about when she misses her daily mindfulness practices, meditation, yoga, etc., she notices that she gets irritated more easily. In fact, the author shared that she had this coworker who everybody said he's so annoying, like can't stand him, he drives me nuts. And she's like, what are they all talking about? Like, I get along with him fine. But she said one day she had missed her mindfulness practices, that self-awareness practices. Nicole, thank you for joining. Just in time for the live discussion. The day she forgot those practices, she went in and she found him annoying. She's like, wow, he is really annoying. But the next day, she had done her practices and she went back and everything was fine again. So what changed? Right? If we're grounded, if we're set and stable, then, the way that we see people, the way we respond to people is going to be very different than when we're not, right? If we're frazzled and we have to deal with someone that might push our buttons, we're going to feel it more on the day that we haven't done our practices, right? All right. So I put the link address up there. I will put it in the chat as well. And I welcome you to come up and share. As I always say, I'm on video. You do not have to be. You can be on audio only, but I love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, share your own experience with containing and not controlling those emotions. Yeah. And moving meditation is really powerful, like going for a walk, right? To reset, to kind of let things flow. Very, very powerful. Movement. Think of it this way. Emotion is energy in motion. So if we're sitting at our desk all day, it's going to be very hard for that to move through us. But when we get up and move, could be dance, could be a walk, could be exercise, then that can move through us. And letting the energy out, go somewhere private and yell, scream, whatever, and let it out. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's about containment. Put it in the parking lot till you're in the space where you're safe to release it, to process it, to get through it. So let me go back through the comments, make sure if I did not miss anything. It's funny, Restream says, never miss a comment. Depends on how quickly they come. Yeah, Sharon, that's true. Sometimes it can be like a little nick. And other times, and that little vulnerability, that tiny leak, could be the thing that opens someone else up, right? I said there's an emotional contagion. It can work against us, but it can also work for us, right? We can be in a space where someone shares a struggle, a challenge. We realize we're not alone, and we get some bravery through them. They're like, they shared, I can share. I've seen it again and again where one person shares something really raw and vulnerable, breaks the silence, and others suddenly feel comfortable, feel okay to release that burden that they're carrying. Yes, soul exhaustion is absolutely real. And it's much deeper than, I would say it's even deeper. Dr. Marcia, welcome. Right? How many of us heard this? Right? Boys don't have pain. Boys don't cry. Big girls don't cry. Let me share this. Liana said, keep your eye out. She's got some beautiful photos coming. Yes, unfortunately, a lot of the outside world, Anil, does see emotion as weakness. But I want to tell you, it's not weakness. By sharing our emotion with trusted people, you'll find that you can connect at a deeper level. Right? Nicole just commented, sharing is caring. That's really powerful. And Arlevine, try copy paste, Arlevine. If you're on mobile, it I can't click on it either. Or perhaps leave the live and go to the comments. Let's see if that looks. I'm going to look and see. Because I'd hate somebody to miss out. We'll get you the link, Arlevine. But Nick is really, she's right on, right? By sharing our experiences, letting others know that they're not alone, that it's okay to share, that this is a safe space when we are in the safe space. And I think of the fact, I've watched Nicole evolve, right? I remember first encountering her. Tom, great, thanks for that. She was the GBW. Nick, never in control. She had a diagnosis, but instead of letting that diagnosis limit her, she took it as a superpower. And I'm sure through that, she's touched a lot of lives. Some she probably knows about, and some she may not know anything about. So that's really powerful. And I'm not saying we all have to go share our reality on LinkedIn. There are people that do. And it goes back to a previous talk. I don't know a lot about it, Jeffrey, about autism, but I do know that people on the spectrum, emotional regulation is much more challenging than someone like me who's not on the spectrum. But you can confirm this, Jeffrey. Has it been worth it? What are the tools that you've found that helped? Like, what worked for you? Because that's the other thing. Everything I teach isn't going to work for everybody. Some people love the two-chair dialogue. Chiedza. Very, very true. Our emotion is, it's the basis. It's a three-legged triangle, right? The words, the language we use with ourselves and others, or others use with us, our emotional state and our physiology affects everything. How you show up in business, how you show up at school, how you show up in your family. And it is a learning experience. And with that in mind, take what works for you, implement it, and don't worry about the rest, right? Some things work for me and they'll work for others. They don't work for everyone. And that's okay. So you have to try. Unfortunately, I cannot message Arlevine. But let's see if I can repost this. Maybe that gives us a workable link. Oh, Jeffrey, I'm going to have to. Yeah. Slow down. Slow down, take a break, take a pause. It's such a powerful tool for all of us. Right? You can't see the beauty of your journey if you're flying down the highway at 100 kilometers an hour or faster. Or for my US folks, if you're driving 80 miles an hour, you're not catching much of what's on the side of you. But when you slow down, you can see the beauty, you can see the challenges. There we go. Now maybe Arlevine can join. And it is worth it when we learn to, as Chiedza said, I'm going to put that on screen. It's a big comment, but self-awareness, discerning and processing our emotion, it's the basis of everything. Our perception of what the situation is, everything. Up, Mike with his songs. Ooh, I love that, Nicole. Accepting is not acquiescence. Embrace allows us to not dwell, but act, whether it be a diagnosis or the stage in life. I would add, or even our past mistakes, right? Someone asked me about forgiveness recently, and this is kind of similar along the lines. And they saw it as forgiveness, like a lot of people think forgiveness, whether it's forgiving ourselves, forgiving others. Yay. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Jeffrey. Nick is inspirational for sure. For sure. Okay, I got a dunk, but it didn't. Oh, there it is. Hello? Are you there, Arlevine?
Hello, yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Perfect. So, first of all, hello. Thank you for this live. This live is quite interesting for me. So, thank you very much.
Oh, we're losing. Is this me or what? Arlene, I don't know if you're hearing me, but I'm not hearing you.
So, hello.
Oh,
So
now
let
I'm
me
hearing
try
you.
with all right. Now you can hear me. Okay, so I told you hello and thank you for the link. So that's it.
My pleasure.
And I'm
And I'll
really
say
happy to be there
bon
with you.
soiree.
So, yes, here it's night yet. So I'm
Yes, and
disturbed
I don't
because
remember where you are, except I do remember you're
I
on the other side of the world.
have some. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I live in Renan Island, and right now I don't hear you directly. So seconds. So between the moment you maybe it is the same your side. So let,
Yeah, I don't know. I live in a developing country, so
let me.
sometimes my.
I will leave.
Okay, sounds good. Well said, Mike. Forgiveness is for you, the forgiver. Reconciliation is about both parties. And that's what I was getting at with this person is that forgiveness has nothing to do with that other person. Forgiveness for me is my choice. I choose to forgive someone. It doesn't mean that I'm okay with what happened. I'm not acquiescing. It's the way I heard it is this: when someone hurts us, they are due consequences. Forgiveness says, I will not visit those consequences on you. I will release you, cut you free from my side. And I actually did I do a practice frequently called cutting aka cords. It's from Huna Hawaiian spirit shaman, and it's a meditative practice where every person we connect with, even if it's just brief connection, commenting on their post or having a quick call or meeting them on the subway or something, imagine there's a thin cord that connects you to that person. And so this meditative practice is actually bringing people up on a stage and kind of visualizing that connection. And I love you. I forgive you. Thank you. I'm sorry. And cut. It was really, really powerful for me. I did this with my father, my mother, who, did the best they could, but let's just say my childhood was bumpy. So, yeah, Mike, that's a perfect way to say that. Forgiveness is for you, reconciliation is for both people. It's so true, right? And practicing unforgiveness, and then our Levine is back. Perhaps. There we go. All right.
I am back. Can you hear me better now?
I hear you very clearly. Yes.
Perfect. So, what did I miss?
Well, I was talking when we lost you for a moment while you were coming back. I had talked about forgiveness, how, and Mike beautifully said it. I have it on the screen. Forgiveness is for the forgiver, right? It's releasing that, not carrying that person. Oh, no. Technology. But are there any other comments, questions about what we talked about leakage in our leadership and about managing our emotions? Right? Letting go of control, not suppressing them, but containing them temporarily till we can get to the place or the space where we can release them and express them appropriately. Give a minute for Arlevine to come back. But I'm feeling lonely up here. I don't know what else. Any questions, comments about armoring up, about how that armor now might leak? All right. Well, I just got a message. Arlevine won't be able to join us again. Connection things it can be very challenging. I don't know what the connection is, but thank you, Arlevine, for trying anyway. And thank you, everyone, for being here on Team Live. If you're watching by Team Replay, feel free to comment. What are your big takeaways? What are the ways that you've seen this in your own experience, in your own life? What are the ways you contain emotion and process emotion in healthy, empowering ways instead of hiding it because of conditioning that we've been conditioned to believe that emotion is something we should hide, that we should keep it locked away. It's well, and Mike, the way I heard it, unforgiveness is like grabbing a hot coal to throw at them. Who's going to be in more pain? Or the other way, unforgiveness is drinking poison and waiting for them to die. Yes, and that's true. Let's see. Annie says the risk. I think we had some lag of connection. The risk is that we express our emotions, aka react, right? React, not react. Yeah, we react. That's the quick, you react out of emotion. The better course, feel the emotion, process it. Yeah, exactly. And then choose how to respond. So that we can make. The other thing is, I talked about this before, Annie. The emotion, it really, if we just let it flow, it averages about 90 seconds that it's in us if we just let it roll. We muck it up because we try to hold on to it. Like, I need to hold on to it so I can stuff it down here because I can't let it out. But if we just let it, maybe, like we said, contain it, because this isn't the place to express it. I'm not ready to respond, right? In couples counseling, we talk about when a couple's in the heat of the moment, right? They're both, they're on the verge of saying things that are going to hurt, things you can't ever take back. And smart couples say, you know what? I need to go for a walk. I need to pause. Can we pause this? Because I am not in the mental space to respond in healthy ways. So let's pause this. Give me 5 minutes. Then we can come back. Give me 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. It usually only takes a few minutes to process it ourselves so that we can come back to that person and respond instead of just reacting. And Tom shares, whoops, practice makes perfect. At least that's the rumor. Practice makes permanent. That's the way I say it now, Tom, because perfect is this unachievable. And as a recovering perfectionist, yeah, I've learned to let go. There is no perfect. And I don't want to strive towards that. Emotions can rule us in life, but they don't have to. Emotions are simply signals. You know, grabbing a hold of them, trying to stuff them down is like ignoring the leak in the roof or the light on your dashboard. Or the other way, the light comes on as you're driving down the highway and you slam on your brakes. Who's going to do that? Most of us are not. But when that light comes on, we're going to go, okay, I need to go deal with this. Same with our emotion. When the emotion comes up, what's it telling you? Do you need oil? Do you need an engine inspection? Do you need to check the brakes because something's going wrong with the brakes? Our emotions are simply signals to let us know there's something to look at. You need to look at this deeper, right? Maybe it's triggers. Count backwards. Oh, these are good. Um, I love to hear that, Tom. Thank you for joining. Practice makes perfect or permanent. Practice makes progress. I like that one, Jeffrey. I've used that one. Dr. Marcia, we must never forget the invisible program that makes it difficult for some to forgive. As coaches, we help clients to dig below the surface and break free. Exactly, Dr. Marcia. That's our whole goal, is to help people get below to the deeper areas. I saw it, as an iceberg, right? The conversation is usually the surface. It's what you see above the water. But underneath, there's the identity or who they're being and the impact on them or the people around them. Sometimes that iceberg flips and the impact's the big thing on top. And sometimes it's the being on top. But usually, no matter what, we're only seeing part of it. The rest of it is underneath. And a good coach helps you get below that. So you can let go, you can condo. We were talking about this last week, right? You can condo your life. If it's not serving you, let's look at how we can get rid of it. How many heavy things are we carrying that we don't need to carry anymore? That were never ours to carry in the first place. Once again, thank you, everyone, for all your comments, questions. Mike and Sharon are exactly right. If we don't deal with the emotion, the mental side of it will exhibit in the physical every time. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great week. I know, Arlene, they are not. It is not too late. When the emotions appear, that is exactly the time to look into it. It's like when the stain appears on the roof, it's not too late. Yes, there's some effect, but it's your sign. Get it checked. Dig in and look at the deeper things underneath to make sure that it doesn't get to be a bigger problem, that you don't get to have a bubble in your roof, or that the whole ceiling collapses on you. Thank you all. Have an amazing week. And a note, there won't be a mind shift next week. Sorry, it's family vacation week. So I'll be traveling with my family. So I won't be here next week. I know everybody's totally sad, but we'll see you the following week. It's just for a short little vacation for the family, a little rest and recharge. Enjoy, have some delicious tacos in Mexico. So thank you all. Go forth, take action from what you learned today. Remember, emotions are just warning signs, they're signals for you to look deeper and see what's going on, to explore. Take care. Love you all. See you in 2 weeks.